mynews.studio.
Picture this: a solar panel finally lighting up a village that's never had electricity before. Trillions are being invested in renewables. But for millions, the lights still flicker. What's going on there?
Just a note, today's date is 2025-12/03. Indonesia has unveiled a £16 billion renewable energy plan backed by the US and Japan. The aim is to raise renewables to 44% of their energy mix by 2030. That's a significant leap. But is that really going to move the needle?
And it's not just Indonesia we're talking about. Globally, there's momentum. For example, the International Solar Alliance, led by India, has committed $35 million to solar projects across Africa. But these aren't only massive solar farms. They're mini-grids, rooftop setups, really intended for places off the main grid.
Exactly, because roughly 733 million people still don't have consistent electricity. That's nearly 1 in 10 people worldwide. So these smaller, decentralized projects could really change things, especially in rural Africa and Southeast Asia, where building out a national grid isn't realistic. But how do we make sure the funds actually reach the people who need them?
A lot of it comes down to how projects are delivered. In Africa, mini-grids make sense because expanding the main grid is costly and slow. These smaller systems are quicker to install and can be tailored for local needs. Southeast Asia has the resources too, but the real challenge is converting investment into projects that actually reach people.
That's where policy really matters. Indonesia's latest electricity plan actually has a contradiction. They're promising big renewable investments, but also planning more fossil fuel plants. Doesn't that send mixed messages to both investors and the communities they're supposed to help?
Definitely. It's a bit of a public commitment on one hand, and then a fallback position privately. That gap in messaging makes it tough for international partners to trust the process. This is where partnerships like the Just Energy Transition Partnership, or JETPP, come in. They can encourage real reforms and keep governments on track.
The UK's doing it a bit differently. They've just signed off on 95 new renewable projects: solar, wind, tidal, geothermal, the lot. That's enough for 2 million homes. But is that kind of rollout realistic in developing countries? Or are there just too many obstacles?
Scaling up is possible, but context matters. In the UK, there's consistent policy, more money flowing, and a skilled workforce. In developing countries, you often hit delays, bureaucracy, funding gaps, sometimes a lack of technical know-how. International funding is helpful, but only if it's matched with changes on the ground.
So when we see this global push for renewables, is it really about ending energy poverty, or is it more about climate commitments?
It's actually both. The funding is meant to cut emissions, but if these projects are designed well, they can also bring electricity to people who never had it. The danger is that all this money gets stuck in paperwork and doesn't lead to real change for communities.
That's the core issue, isn't it? Whether investment bridges the gap between climate goals and people's daily lives, or are we just going to see more plans and announcements, but not much happening where it really counts?
This moment is about more than technology or finance. It's about meeting basic needs and making sure the shift to clean energy is fair. We'll know in the next few years if these investments turn into real progress, or if they stay as numbers on reports.
We've talked through how international alliances, technology, and policy are coming together right now. The outcomes matter, not just for the climate, but for development. If you want to see what actually happens, keep an eye on places like Indonesia and rural Africa.
That wraps things up for today. From village solar panels to national policies and global partnerships, energy's future is taking shape right in front of us.
Thanks for joining us. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. You can try it now for free.